What's up everyone, Jimmy here from Base Game Reviews, and today we're diving into the epic comeback of turn-based RPGs with what might just be 2025's biggest gaming shockwave yet, and we're not even halfway through the year. From the fresh out of the gate studio, Sandfall Interactive, packed with ex-Ubisoft devs, comes Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But is this game really the modern masterpiece everyone's hyping? A straight up 10 out of 10? Or just another case of reviewers glazing? Let's get into it and find out in our review of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. How I played. I played Clair Obscur Expedition 33 via Xbox Game Pass for PC on my R7 7800 X3D RTX 3080 gaming PC. I was playing on a modified high settings, and I used DLSS Swapper to inject the latest DLSS 4 transformer model. This allowed me to play at a consistent 120 FPS with DLSS set to balanced. Story, 19 out of 20. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 masterfully drops you into the world of Lumiere, with a tear-jerking prologue that introduces the main protagonist, Gustave. Right from the jump, you can tell Expedition 33 oozes with style. The music elevates the story and characters to insane heights. In the prologue, you get a taste of the basic controls and RPG mechanics through some playful battles. You also explore the town of Lumiere, learning about the world and its characters. You discover the Gamage and its heartbreaking effect on Lumiere's people. When the Painters counts down from 34 to 33, everyone 33 or older gets Thanos snapped out of existence. As soon as the prologue ended, I could picture all of the crying gamer girl thumbnails for their Let's Play channels. The cutscenes in Expedition 33 are artistically fantastic. They're a masterclass and cinematic as hell. As of writing this, Expedition 33 is already greenlit for a movie, which is not surprising. You could literally stitch together all of the cutscenes and have a dope film on its own. Expedition 33 has three types of cutscenes: pre-rendered cinematics that run at 30 FPS, in-game rendered cutscenes, and back and forth dialogue cutscenes. My only gripe is the back and forth dialogue cutscenes don't seem to follow the cinematic 180 rule. You can speed up cutscenes if you're a fast reader, like me, humble brag. But when I did, I legit got motion sick. Just a small gripe, but it did stand out. I love the world building in Expedition 33. Story and lore come through cinematics, NPC chats, and expedition logs scattered across the game world. The game doesn't spoon feed you like a kid. There's a ton of mystery, with story bits doled out slowly. I was well into the second act, still thinking, wow, what's going on? Who's behind blank? Too many modern games dumb down their stories for the masses, force feeding info so there's no mystery or surprises. And Expedition 33 respects your brain, and I'm here for it. The overall story of Expedition 33 is stunningly fresh, but at the same time, very familiar. I could see a lot of inspiration from games like Nier Replicant and 90s Final Fantasy titles. I also got hints of like The Neverending Story and even Dark Souls. I won't spoil anything, but I gotta comment. Some of the decisions Sandfall Interactive made with the story are bold. I was left feeling stunned, and I hadn't been surprised like that in a game story for a long time. There are a ton of great topics and thematic tones the game touches on: loss, grief, revenge, sacrifice, love. And what I really appreciated is that it was done in a way that wasn't preachy and didn't have some tie to modern day politics. It all made sense and was relevant to the world inside the game. I find stories like these have more impact because of how universal they are. They are feelings everyone can have no matter their background. It's a shame that this style of storytelling feels like a lost art in the modern age. Graphics, 15 out of 15. All the characters look stunning and lifelike. This game's art direction is S tier, and every character screams it. Gameplay models can sometimes look like detailed G.I. Joe dolls or Barbie dolls, but that just made me laugh. During the cinematics and cutscenes, all the characters are just dripping with swag, or riz, if you will. Usually, Unreal Engine 5 environments don't impress me since you can whip up a decent one with stock models. But Expedition 33's environments are crazy detailed with top-notch set dressing. There's a ton of diverse biomes and location. I legit feel like I was in arenas and spots I imagined while playing Final Fantasy on PS1. The contrast between beauty, tranquility, and dark, gruesome despair is an amazing feat. Expedition 33 has it all. The final boss arena even reminded me of a certain From Software gem from 2015. Bloodborne, cough cough. The special effects in Expedition 33 are jaw-dropping. I loved how everything flowed in the combat system. Elemental and magic effects are straight up badass. The slow motion effects makes you feel like a beast when you nail perfect parries for a counterattack. This feels like a proper 2025 graphical showpiece. Audio, 14 out of 15. The ambience and tone are so on point. They deserve a textbook. At the right moments, I was immersed in sorrow and loss, and later swelling with joy. The OST carries this game, and I love how perfectly French it feels. The title track, Lumiere, hasn't left my brain since playing. It hits hard and nails the game's vibe. It's a reminder of what a killer OST should be, and how weak most games' music is by comparison. Total eye-opener. The major boss battles all have their own track, which is operatic and really drives the mood for the fights. But the open field and regular mini-bosses just share the same battle music, which isn't a terrible thing. It again really reminds me of 90s JRPGs, and I really felt at home with that. The voice acting is impeccable. Charlie Cox, Jennifer English, Kirsty Ryder, Shala Nix, Ben Starr, and they even got Andy Serkis to voice act in this game. They all do such a masterful job at delivering their dialogue, and I think none of them are native French speakers. None of the dialogue came off as corny or cringe, and I found myself getting really immersed in the story thanks to the superb performances. All of the sound effects are crushing and hold weight. I love how powerful the different attacks felt. My only small gripe is I felt one of the characters' voices felt a little off to me, but this could just be a personal preference. Performance, 9 out of 10. I had zero issues with frame rate, even on my aging RTX 3080. And I found when I changed the fidelity to epic settings, and then even disabling DLSS, I could not even tell the difference between my previous settings. And it totally cut down my frame rate to 60 FPS with drops to the mid 50s. So after I modified my settings and used DLSS Swapper to use DLSS 4, I was able to get my game running at 120 FPS for a super smooth gameplay experience, and no visual fidelity lost to my eye. I also saw via Digital Foundry that on consoles, Expedition 33 has two settings, performance and quality, but no third option like balanced or 40 FPS mode. But it's fantastic to see that an Unreal Engine 5 game is running mostly at 60 FPS with minor dips on a base PS5 in performance mode. So kudos to Sandfall Interactive. In my entire playthrough on PC, I didn't run into a single glitch. My game did crash once at the final boss fight, but that could be because I'm forcing DLSS 4 into the game. I do have a small nitpick. This game is not completely free of minor Unreal Engine jank. I did find that my character, while running, would get stuck on random geometry from time to time. So if there is set dressing on flat ground, your character will clip it and get stuck. Gameplay, 35 out of 40. I love the controls for Expedition 33. Everything felt natural and fluent. I will say that everyone should go into the game settings and change running to toggle instead of hold. My middle finger did get tired from holding R2 for long periods of time. Expedition 33 is packed with awesome mechanics. I love how they were able to bring back turn-based combat with a semi-modern twist. It felt familiar to me having played Metaphor ReFantazio earlier this year, but I really enjoyed how engaging the mechanics felt with the mix of QTEs and parries and perfect dodges. It made static turn-based combat feel like real-time open field combat. There are a ton of ways to power up your party with regular level up stats, And you also find items called Pictos, which are different buffs and abilities you can equip to your character. And you can find some insane combinations of Pictos that make your character basically god level. Personal gripe that I have. Although I do really enjoy the parry mechanic in Expedition 33, it starts to get a little old as you encounter many bosses and enemies that basically require you to perfect parry insane combination attacks, and any single failure will result in an insta-death. I think it's great in the beginning where if you parry 1 to 3 attacks in a row, you're rewarded with a counter attack that does massive damage. But when the combos start getting to 5+ attacks, a single counter attack seems hardly like a good enough reward for getting that many perfect parries in a row. This is my note to the devs. I would love it if maybe up to 3 perfect parries rewards you with a counter attack. And for longer combos, any perfect parry above 3 attacks does something like breaks all shields, instantly breaks enemy, or does massive damage beyond a regular counter, or you get a double counter. So for example, if you have a boss or an enemy that has a 6 attack combo, after the 3rd parry, a counter attack is normal. Then for the 4th and 5th parries, it breaks shields. Then on the 6th attack with a perfect parry, it does a devastating blow that does massive damage. And I think after 3 perfect dodges, you should be able to do an R2 attack like you can when you do a jump. Tell me if you agree in the comments below. I'm genuinely shocked in Expedition 33 how there isn't a bunch of bullshit padding like there would be in other games. This game is 3 chapters. That's it. There aren't any dogshit fetch quests that are forced on you or filler quests that you know are there to pad up runtime. You move from story beat to story beat, and there are a ton of optional side quests that are for emotional relief and just for overall level grinding and item collecting. My only small gripe is you do hit a difficulty wall in the game, and then you're basically forced to grind field enemies to level up your team. But that's normal for RPGs, and it's totally tradition to go out and find the most broken build you could possibly create, which I absolutely did. The UI is very slick. It really reminded me of Metaphor ReFantazio, so basically Persona. And I also saw hints of classic Final Fantasy games. I felt everything was super easy to navigate and the menus all made sense. A small nitpick I have is I hate that the start menu doesn't have the system options. You have to press select to see the system options and to quit the game. I wish they just incorporated that into the start menu and have either a secondary button to press to go to system, or you could toggle menus with R1, L1, etc. There are a lot of mini bosses which are just beefed up field enemies, but there are some main story bosses which are incredible. I was pumped when I encountered a mix between Velstadt and Pontiff Sullivan, and the boss arenas were all super well crafted and amazing visually. My main issue though was one of the larger epic bosses have huge camera pans and movement that makes it hard to see their attacks coming. You could say,
actually, that's the point.
but I find that annoying and an artificial difficulty. A lot of the field enemies do look samey, but that could be a consistent design language. But there is enough variation and reskins that changes them up enough when you move from area to area. And each of the enemies have different abilities, but you start to pick up on patterns. So there is obviously the main missions that drive the story and giant field monsters that you can battle with for items and experience. But there are also a ton of little mini games in Expedition 33 that were hilariously surprising. Like out of nowhere, there was a full-on version of Only Up in the game to challenge your platforming skills. Being a kid who grew up in the 1900s, I am very fluent with the art of platforming, so I totally crushed these challenges. You can also hang out at camp and build relationships with your team. There are romance options if you're into that, and you can also find collectibles throughout the game world that range from different songs to play at camp and different outfits and different bits of lore. You can even find different haircuts for your players to switch up your looks. But unfortunately, there is no fishing and no way to collect cats. So there goes that Game of the Year award, I guess. I am happy to see that New Game Plus is available day one. It makes me laugh to see that there are games that release without a New Game Plus option and take 6 months to release one. You can replay Expedition 33 and choose different dialogue options or focus on leveling different characters. I personally restarted my playthrough after 8 hours because I had missed a weapon that I could only get by choosing a specific character to do a specific challenge. And I'm personally glad I did, because I was able to make the most broken build ever with this weapon and completely demolish the entire game where I was previously struggling. Bonus: 2 out of 3. Expedition 33 has some great colorblind options and the ability to autocomplete all QTEs, making combat a lot easier for those who are struggling to hit different button sequences. I wish they had an option like in Final Fantasy 16 where you could equip special items that do things like perfect parry or perfect dodge. I think that would be great for people who want that for accessibility, since a lot of battles in the game require you to be able to do those things. Overall, 93 out of 100. Incredible. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a game that I wanted so hard to be bullshit casual gamer hype, but ended up being truly one of the best games I've played in a long while. I was pleasantly surprised at the quality Sandfall Interactive was able to produce using the dreaded Unreal Engine. Expedition 33 is a true testament to how broken the current gaming development scene is, and I think this will truly shake up the industry as a team of 30 or so people were able to produce such an incredible title. Game studios, beware. Expedition 33 exists, and it is absolutely a must-play game.